Right, general business items. I can find the page. Here we go. Call for general business, Councillor Gilbertson.
Transparency Hawke's Bay meeting last night, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor McGregor.
National Balance Farm Environmental Awards.
Yep. Councillor Rem as well.
Conference in Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going here. Item 7, Maori Committee Chairman's update from the meeting held as recently as yesterday. Kia ora.
Yep. Firstly, apologise for bringing up about Tipi Talaha's death in the notices. I didn't realise that I would be here for this item. Tipi was a member of a Maori Committee in the last term, and his sudden death at 56 was a shock, and I'd like to thank Councillor Scott and Liz and Viv Mould for attending with Heitia Hiha and his wife to the tangi. And also report that at yesterday's meeting, for the first time for a year, Heitia Hiha was back, firing on all cylinders, much to the annoyance of the General Manager. And so it was great to see him back in excellent health. Yesterday, an update from the manager, Liz Lambert, was particularly interesting update for the Māori members, particularly the things that are happening with Ruataniwha, and also of concern, particularly to the Heratanga Tai Whenua, about the what's happening with H-brick and how it is perceived to be going into the future. They were a little bit oblivious of that. Of particular concern was the so-called non-action regarding the long fin eel, which the Commissioner for the Environment has put out a report. So the committee has asked that a letter be drafted to Nikki, asking them to lobby the minister, the relevant minister, in terms of putting a rahui just on the Hawke's Bay area rather than trying to do it across the country, because we're very aware of the commercial implications, and if we just do it in our own rohe, it would have a better chance of getting through. What else was there? And there was a short presentation from one of the two companies, Buick, on their build and design proposal. They're one of the two companies that are vying to for the job, which I understand will come about in the decision will be made sometime in September as to the successful company. And the main theme from yesterday was how it would affect local employment. Thank you.
Kia ora. Any questions, Councillor Gilbertson? No? Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for Mr. Mahi. I should have asked this question yesterday, but with the longfin eel debate, which was very interesting, are commercial eelers able to easily distinguish between the two, and if they can, do they care?
Good question. I'd have to ask Des Ratima that.
Councillor Dick.
Mr. Chairman, it's a little bit peripheral, but I think this now the time to raise it. Do you think, in regard to the comments that you made when the Local Government Commission was here about who they should consult with, and the fact that TPK may not, in its own right, be adequate, do you think that perhaps that the Joint Plan Committee should communicate with the Commission and give its interpretation of the if you like, the seats of power and influence And who should be consulted with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I was actually going to personally ask the General Manager if she would indeed write to TPK and just to outline the importance of that committee. Because what we're trying to do is give it some status. It's not very well known in Māoridom at all. And so that's, if someone would like to move along those lines, as I can't.
Probably.
Motion for that.
Okay, thank you.
Copy to the Commission.
Yes.
Councillor Ramswell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Mike, for the report. It was a good meeting. Back again. Just to follow up about the longfin eel, it was mentioned that there is a council officer in Bay of Plenty, Kelly Hughes, who's an expert on fish barriers, and so there was an inquiry whether this council could liaise with that person to get some more information about what we can actually actively do as a council here, and also if our council can liaise with Hastings District Council, who are also responsible for have responsibility for things that they can do with protecting the eel and fish barriers, etc. So if we could just, perhaps Mr. Maxwell could advise us how we can actually, this council can make contact with Hastings District Council to promote that, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So yes, we do actually have very good fish passage expertise within the council now. So Fiona Cameron is our fish passage expert. She's well versed on this stuff. Fiona's actually developed a database of all areas where fish barriers exist and we need to take remedial action. And the team, as a result of the broader discussions on longfin eel, and certainly over a period of some 12 months now, have been developing a strategy or some plans to deliver that. And it'll be a very simple and cost-effective process that will involve science staff, field staff from Guppy Road and engineering staff to systematically go through and address fish barrier issues. And certainly part of that process is talking to the roading engineers and the TAs to ensure that fish-friendly culvert design is incorporated into any new roadworks.
And just not a comment on that, just one last point was Peter Paku resigned from the Māori committee the meeting before, and for some reason that I didn't comment on that meeting, it was held over or something, and his Mike Paku has taken his place yesterday, and the Māori committee moved that Peter's place on the Environment and Services Committee be not filled, considering that there's only one more meeting to go. So it'll be just held by Rangi Puna. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions. Councillor Gilbertson.
Chairman, I was going to move that the report be received and the recommendation that Mr. Moya wants to move be moved.
To write the letter.
Yeah. Doesn't?
It'll happen, but yeah.
Would you want
Point noted. Mover, second. You wish to speak?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just on the longfin eel thing, one of the most disappointing things that came out of the meeting yesterday, we had a very smart young man called, he's the fisheries guy? Wayne Ormsby, who gave us a bit of a briefing. But one of the things he said was that there was because the obvious solution to the longfin eel problem is to ban the fishing of longfin eels and let them recover. He said that was taken to the minister and it was getting some traction, but at the last moment the commercial guys came along and said we are shareholders in these companies that need to make money, and if we don't make money we'll get sacked as directors and we won't have any money. Therefore the minister bowed to commercial pressure at the ministerial level. And to me that negates all the efforts we may make, because if there's a massive great commercial catch out there, us putting a few fish traps in will slow the decline but won't actually do anything. So to me that was very disappointing. That's the nature of sort of politics, that short-term commercial reality overrode the long-term sustainability and environmental benefit. So as long as we're up against that sort of appalling short-term thinking, we're sort of basically doomed. So I certainly commend the efforts we're going to make to save the longfin eel, but basically until you get the people at the top to have some sort of social responsibility, we're sort of we're not going to make much progress. So it's basically, to me, a matter of getting some integrity at the top.
Other speakers? Yes,
Just to follow up on Councillor Gilbertson's point, that's why it's important to keep this issue alive and in the media, and so that the public is aware of how important it is, because the breeding habits of the eel are that they only breed once at a very old age, and so and they are threatened. They are facing extinction. So it's that's where the commercial interests and at ministerial level, they need to listen to what the people are saying on this issue, and anything that we can do to actually enhance the safe passage of the eels to the sea to reproduce is really, really important. That also includes the transport authorities as well, who are also involved with building appropriate structures. So that was another suggestion that this should go to the Transport Committee meeting as well.
I too came to the same conclusion as Councillor Gilbertson.
No further speakers?
Just to apologise for that. I have an emergency coming up, but the plane's been delayed for another hour.
Okay. I'll put that motion in. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you, Mr Mohi. Decision item 8, affixing the common seal. Move. Second. Put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you.